Welcome to Derek Does Stuff. Today we're out in the shop. We're going to be working on a few drum pedals. Okay. Here we have my Ludwig Standard bass drum pedal, Ludwig Standard hi-hat pedal, and this is another hi-hat pedal that I'm going to be using for a bass pedal project. Okay. So as you notice, these are smooth pedals. They have a brush finish to them, and they have darkened areas of accents. Okay, this one actually looks about the best. So my plan is to repaint the accents, reestablish the brush finish, make them look like they're new. Okay, see what we can do. Now, first thing we're going to do here is we're going to use a rag and some lacquer thinner, and we're going to try to take off the old paint here. We'll wet it down to soften it up. Okay, a little bit on this one. We're not going to worry about too much in the letters because the letters are all pretty even, but it's kind of rough on some of these bigger accents. And we're going to take this bass drum pedal apart here in a few minutes. But this part ought to be pretty easy. As a matter of fact, it's already starting to come loose. And the main thing is, we don't need to get every bit of it off. We just need to get it nice and smooth. Now, like I said, I could have sanded in here, but that would have taken me more time, and I don't think it's necessary. We just want to make sure we get rid of all the rough edges that would show up once it's repainted. Okay. And as you might be able to tell on this pedal, there is not very much paint left on the body itself. We're going to get all that off in a few moments just so the paint job looks good. Okay, I think that ought to do it. Okay, so a little bit more in this corner, it looks like. Okay, and you can see this one here, I actually done this just a few moments ago right before I started the camera, cleared this one off. That's actually pretty good. This has probably got the nicest finish of all of them on it. There's a little bit of pitting on the other pedals from use. This one I picked up off eBay. Good deal on it. Wanted to make sure it was in good shape because I plan to use this for a bass drum pedal that has a different setup rather than the limited strap motion that's on this one. It's actually a fairly barbaric pedal. It works, but it's not smooth, anything like that. And I wanted to have an original, but I also want one that works real good. And if I can just use a different pedal, probably a Speed King, and put a standard pedal board on it, you know, just be something that I could use out all the time. Okay, we'll go ahead and do the disassembly. We'll be right back for that. We're going to try a very limited disassembly on this pedal. I don't want to take too much off of it. The pedal board itself comes off, but we're also going to be painting this area here. So I want to get as much old paint off as I can. Pedal board, that's the easy part. Now for the spring. Always make sure to keep your parts together. There we go. This is a roll pin down here. I doubt if I'm going to take that out. I'm going to just go ahead and clean up the rest, try to tape it off, paint around it. Try to give that bearing a little push. There we go, the bearing is now out. That's about as stripped as we're going to get this one for now. That roll pin will probably be hard to move. And I don't want to use a torch or anything on it. So here we go. Almost done. Now the hi-hat stand, I believe that I'm going to leave it pretty much together. There's no real good way to take it apart. So I'll leave it together. I'll tape everything off when we give it the light coat of paint. And first, I'm going to try to clean up the brush surface to get all the pits out of it first before I do the paint. And then we'll go for the paint. And after it's over, we'll go back over and clean off the paint off the surfaces we don't want it, and maybe go over the brush finish one more time. Okay, to clean these up, I'm using this machine here. This is actually a Bauer. That's the Harbor Freight version of the Eastwood Contour SCT. It was a little bit cheaper. I tried it, decided to give it a shot, bought it, and I've actually been happy with it. I almost bought the Eastwood product, was using a sale coupon. My coupon expired, so I ended up having to go to Harbor Freight because I couldn't afford the extra 50 bucks. So here we go. This isn't an endorsement on either product. I just use it and I like it. So, okay, I'm going to give it a shot here. The secret in keeping this going the right way is to go in an exact straight line up and down the board. So I need to go a little bit more on the end. So I'm going to try to situate this as best I can. Give it a little support. Much better. This is actually working out better than I thought it was going to. Okay, that's the first run. See if I can get this into where the camera can see it. Very well, here we go. That's not a bad deal. Looks pretty decent. And that's just our first run. I might go over the second run just by hand with Scotch-Brite. Not real sure. This is actually working out really well. So now I'm going to do the other two. this one in the vise. Bad on me, always make sure to wear your eye protection. It has a few pits on the bottom of it. This is probably the pedal with the most wear. There's a few pits down at the bottom, so I'm going to go over it again. One more time. Okay. Now, got a little bit on the edge. There's a little bit of pitting on the edge. I'm going to go on the edge. I don't think that I can ask for any more than that. It's pretty good. Pretty nice. So that's 2 down. 1 left to go. This one's in really good shape anyway. It should only take about 1 pass for this one. This is absolutely gorgeous. There we go. Get a little couple of different angles. See what looks the best. Working with a new camera today. This is, as a matter of fact, the first video I'm making that's not on my phone. So I'm hoping that this works out real well. This will help me with editing, things like that. With the phone videos, you sort of get what you get. It's a little bit harder to edit than it is with this. So I'm hoping this works out really, really well. I'll see if I can get a little bit of this stuff loose with this. If not, I'll soak it more with the thinner. I guess I'm going to have to redo things here. We'll be right back. Yeah, it's a little word about this machine that I'm using. I just had to tighten up the barrel on it. I actually found out about these by watching Matt at Irontrap Garage. He used to work for Eastwood, and it was the first time I'd ever seen anything like this. And as soon as I seen it, I knew I wanted one. The only problem was affording it. But I've got one. I'm happy with it. And thanks, Matt. If you guys don't know who that is, Irontrap Garage. Go check it out. I bought a 40 Ford. I needed some advice on how to take the springs and change them and things like that. Right there on his channels. Everything you want to know about old hot rods. Really informative. No, that's not good on it. Okay. No damage. Let's see if I can get some more on here. I know it'll only go so far. Digging in a little bit. Yeah. Okay, on the side here. Okay, well, that's a good start. One more spot. One more spot I can get to here. Turned out good. Okay. And maybe I can get to the bottom. That might just help. As firm as I can. Excellent. And whenever I can on this channel, I'm going to give a shout out to, some of the different YouTubers and stuff that have inspired me, helped me. Some of them personally. That's the greatest thing about YouTube is these people. They are just regular people. And if you need, if you get a chance to meet them, they're really nice people, and most of them will help you out. Okay, so, okay, I've still got some work to do on this. As a matter of fact, I might just soak the rest of it off, but I'll be right back. Okay, I've got this soaking here. As you can see, it's sitting in a bath of lacquer thinner, and I'll wire brush that here in just a few moments. I promise I'll get better at these videos. Learning new cameras, things like that, takes some time. As a matter of fact, just plain learning to talk to a video is not a natural thing. So we'll be right back. We're going to give these first two a nice little coat of the black. Now, today we're using the Rust-Oleum, and that's the ×2 coverage with the primer. Now, I want to make sure I cover in the depressed areas where my accents are, but I don't need to worry about the center of the pedal at all. Make sure to get enough of an angle on it that you're filling up the entire accent area. Okay. Now moving on to the hi-hat, and make sure we're not really spraying any of the hi-hat mechanism that we don't want paint on. Now I will be able to go back through and clean up anything that I hit that I didn't want to. But the idea is the less mistakes you make in the beginning, that's the less you have to fix. As it's, with this fresh paint, it'll come off fairly easy once we do once it dries off, since it's fairly fresh, it'll come back off fairly easy, but you don't want to do it if you don't have to. So the less mistakes you make, less you have to fix. And you always got to remember thin coats. And that'll probably be it for those two. One more thin coat for this one when I get back to it, and I'll back over here and check and see how my paint is doing. It's coming right off. That's good. Let me get my wire brush, and we'll start getting into that. There you go. Now I'm using a steel brush here. I also have a brass brush. It doesn't really matter because you're not going to dig into it. You're just going to knock the paint loose. And it's coming off. It's just like butter. It's dissolving. So the main thing the brush is for is to get it out of the nooks and crannies. And always go for the major parts first. And then you can come back and give your attention to the inside details, the creases, right up next to everything. And of course, I still have a few sections that will not sit down into the bath there. I'll sit in the lacquer thinner, so I have to scrape those a little bit more, wire brush them a little bit more, that kind of stuff. So we just keep working on that until we get as much of it as we can out. Now, this doesn't need to be a perfect job. If I've got a little speckle in a crease somewhere, then it's most likely not going to show up at all. So it is working. It's doing the magic. Watch out, this stuff is flammable, very flammable. See if I can use my longer brush, get into some of the places that I couldn't reach with the other. Oh, that's good. That's working out real good. And as far as I've seen, all of these standard bass drum pedals were always black. So this actually looks pretty good just the way it is, but they were black, so I'm going to go ahead and make it black again. Yeah, that's my phone ringtone. If anybody knows what that is, put it in the comments. It would be from the 70s. I'm definitely a 70s kid. That's for sure. 70s and 80s. Born in 68. So I'm an old man. That's why I don't take very well to all these newfangled contraptions like phones and cameras. There we go. It's not perfect, but that's not too bad. Not too bad at all. Now just let this dry, and then we'll actually be ready for paint on it also. Okay, I'm back. Using this fresh rag here, I'm going to lightly dip it into the lacquer thinner. Now these things are not even close to being dry. I'm going to actually clean the outer edge. You know, some of the places we know we 100% do not want any paint. Now I'm not going to get them completely clean. The idea is I'm just going to get the excess off so I don't have to deal with it later. So I don't spend a whole bunch of time trying to straighten it up. Now this is where it gets to be a little bit rough because you want to constantly move your rag around, so you don't want to have too much lacquer thinner on it where it's going to drip down into your areas that you're accenting. But you want to wipe it off, so it should take just a little bit of pressure to wipe it off. And you can only go so far, and you need to move because your rag is going to be full of paint. So just a little thing like that. And then we're going to go over to the other side. Just barely dip your rag. Then you're just going to lightly rub it. And remember, you don't want it to build up at all. You don't want the lacquer thinner to drip into your reveal, is what that might be called there. You want to make sure not to touch it. I came real close right there. Okay. Just taking a little bit off the center to see how thick it is. I'm going to move on to the next one. I'll get the top first, I guess. There we go. Excellent. Always be very careful. You know, it's not really that bad. You could actually just mop these back off, which just, you know, wet them down with thinner and wipe them all down and start again. It's not a big deal. That's one of the things that makes this project something that anybody can do, because it's not like anything you're doing is set in stone. You can do it over as many times as you need to. Ask me how I know. Normally I use this technique on valve covers, fin valve covers for cars. Since I do a lot of, you know, car restorations and stuff like that. Well, I wouldn't say I do a lot of them, but I do enough of them. So, you know, fixing up, accenting stuff, making it look better. There you go. So just a little bit at a time goes, you know, a long way here. You can get this going. So the last thing you want to do is to get too much of it on there. Okay? That's why I'm being rather conservative on what I'm taking off, because I don't want to get too much so I flood one of those areas where we're trying to keep black. Okay. Now this is going to be the hardest one, since I really can't pick it up. Always be mindful where the rest of your rag is while you're on the top. You can be too focused on where your finger's at and end up dragging the rest of your rag right through your work. Ask me how I know. Okay, that's actually looking pretty good. Now we can start taking a little bit out of the center. Hopefully I'll be able to time lapse this. If not, I apologize for the length of this video. Okay, I'm going to continue to work on those and come right back. Okay, it's the next day. After a quick reassembly, we have the standard pedal right there. Nice coat of black on that. The hi-hat is back together. And here's my project. Speed King body with a standard pedal on it. I don't know, call it a Standard King, a Speed Standard, something like that. Okay, all three of them look pretty good together. So that's it for this project and my new camera. We'll see how it comes out. Hopefully you're seeing this. So this is Derek from Derek Does Stuff. Come by. We'll do some stuff.